Donald, you wildin'. Telling your own base to get lost? TMZ just dropped Epstein list update. Inside source reveals shocking news. And the receipts off the charts. Let's break down every bombshell. Let's run it.
Well, what started out as a slight divide among President Trump's supporters, MAGA supporters, is now an all-out rift. And he is the one who's saying good riddance. He's literally said to
his own
MAGA
base,
supporters,
his own base,
good riddance. If you want to keep going on and on about this Epstein file and about the names that you think are associated with Jeffrey Epstein, get lost. I don't want your support.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
This is what he posted on Truth Social this morning, and he's trying to lay it all on the Democrats. He says, these scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. And my past supporters have bought into this blank, hook, line, and sinker. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore.
Man. He's straight up ghosting MAGA, like get lost if you ask about Epstein. He'll clap back at scams and hoaxes, then flex unprecedented success and still say, I don't want your support. That's nuts. You can't ditch your ride or dies because they want to see receipts. He's playing blame on Dems, but really he's burning bridges in his own backyard.
Well, that would include Marjorie Taylor Greene. That would include Tim Burchett. That would include a lot of people
on the Hill who are saying this.
And he can't afford to lose more than one or two of them. So this is crazy. So he doubles down in the Oval Office today. And of course, the reporters are asking him about this because this has become the issue. It is the centerpiece of what's going on right now.
He doesn't have a policy. Some lunatic around the desk had a policy. Whoever operated the autopen had a policy, which is, by the way, I think the biggest scandal. That's the scandal they should be talking about, not Jeffrey Epstein. The scandal you should be talking about is the autopen, because I think it's the biggest scandal, one of them in American history.
He's telling Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tim Burchett, even die-hard MAGA Hill Sharks, you're expendable. Lose one or two, no biggie. That's the ultimate betrayal, bruh. Then he storms the Oval Office, calling the autopen fiasco the biggest scandal in American history, like a glorified stamp roller outranks Epstein's trafficking ring. It's insane. He's dodging accountability, flipping the narrative to blame a machine for his mess. Meanwhile, his base is left wondering if loyalty even matters anymore. He's playing checkers while their trust is on the chessboard. This level of deflection is pure political theater, and we're all front row.
So I just want to kind of reiterate what we talked about yesterday. I've talked to people who have seen this file, and A, there is no list. B, there are a million names in it. Because Jeffrey Epstein bragged about all the people he knew, billionaires, movie stars, music stars, politicians. Fidel Castro is in this. Donald Trump's name is mentioned more than a few times, I'm told, by two different people. And nothing untoward, though. I mean, there are so many names of just people who knew the guy, but there's nothing untoward. But I'm wondering, is this, he just doesn't want that, even though
he wants nothing. Out. And maybe nothing. It's not even, who knows, maybe it's not only about himself, could be about some of those other people.
Well, Donald Trump, you're cooked. Epstein bragged about hobnobbing with prime ministers, A-listers, and yeah, you got your mentions too. Now you're acting like it's not about you, but we all know you're ducking something bigger. It's a powder keg for MAGA, and you just tossed in the match. Loyalty's evaporating, and even your ride or dies are asking questions. Tell us straight, are you protecting yourself or covering for someone way above you? That's a spot I'd never want to be.
Let's bring in someone who we know is definitely watching this very closely, our good friend Michael Knowles from The Michael Knowles Show. Goodbye, MAGA? What's going on, Michael?
Yeah.
It's not quite at the level of goodbye, MAGA, but I think this is the most serious threat to the MAGA coalition that we've seen in the last 6 months. I don't know, maybe the last 6 years. And the reason is actually something we talked about last time I was on the show, which is I said, look, guys, I don't think anybody is more frustrated about the Epstein stuff than Trump is, because there are all sorts of reasons why the government might not release all the names of the people associated with Epstein. For one, it's a pretty far-flung list, as you mentioned, Harvey. It includes Fidel Castro. So, there are a lot of people involved. So for reasons of everything from avoiding defamation all the way up to, unraveling the world order because of the prime ministers and royalty and serious political leaders who associated with Epstein, for any of those reasons, the government might say, okay, we're not just going to publish all of these files.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got them.
That said, I don't think that what MAGA wants is just to publish all the files willy-nilly. I don't think that's a top priority. Some people say that, but I think what we really want is justice.
But what is justice? What is justice?
Justice would be a prosecution of some of the bad people. Justice would be political consequences if we're talking about agencies of our government or even foreign governments. Justice would be some consequence where this doesn't just get brushed under the rug. And I'm sure Trump would like that too. Trump was interviewed in front of Marine One, and he was going off about Epstein and how annoying it is that people are still asking about it. And he said, but look, I want anything that is credible to be released too. And so I think that he's actually where a lot of people are.
I hope so.
Eye of the beholder there.
Right.
The word credible.
Right. You saying that is almost like he's setting up that nothing's going to come out, and that's the reason nothing's going to come out. Or if it all comes out, he's already sort of saying, well, a lot of it isn't credible.
He's setting that stage because he says, look, some of this is a Democrat hoax. The Democrats were compiling a lot of these files. Yeah, fair enough. The real reason I think that Trump is pushing this at this moment, though, is because it's now made it to the halls of Congress. So you've got Democrats in Congress have finally become the pro-disclosure party, along with Trump's political enemies in the Republican Party. Right. Guys like Thomas Massey, who Trump wants to primary. So
but even supporters,
allies.
Yeah, even the allies.
Staunch allies are also saying this.
But I think the allies, that's key, because a lot of people who are in MAGA are reading that Truth Social post and they're saying, wait, he's telling me he doesn't want my support? I thought he's a man of the people. No one's ordinary and we're all I'm here for you, whatever. I think that Truth Social post might as well have been written to Capitol Hill. I think it's written to guys like Thomas Massey, maybe to Marjorie Taylor Greene as well. And I think he's saying, hey, you guys who are supposed to be my supporters on Capitol Hill, get your priorities in order and talk about the things I want you to talk about. But unfortunately, it's not going to go away because the Epstein story is a symbol of corruption that long predates Donald Trump. I think that's part of why he's irritated he has to talk about it. But I think the government has to communicate in a way that conveys to people that justice is going to be done and that, God forbid, the MAGA movement's not going to be complicit in an injustice.
So Michael Knowles drops in saying this is MAGA's worst shakeup in half a decade. And I'm sitting here like, y'all really think if Trump had skeletons in that Epstein file, he'd go full, look at me, world, and risk federal charges just to prove he's quote unquote credible? Come on. He ghosts that list faster than you can say Truth Social. He's out here labeling it a Democrat hoax, preaching justice and whining about quote credible leaks, while Congress, Dems, and rusty GOP holdouts on places Thomas Massey, Umbra and Faso are ready to torch him if he ducks. It's classic dodgeball politics. Blame the other team, call your lieutenants lunatics, and pray no one asks for receipts. The whole thing stinks of cover-ups. He's not protecting MAGA, bruh. He's protecting himself or someone way bigger.
If there was an issue he didn't want people talking about, he'd have the shiny object that he would talk about, and everybody would divert away from the one thing, like with Signalgate. This time he's tried with, the real conspiracy is the autopen, and nobody's buying that. So this was the tried and true thing. It has failed. Nobody is saying, let's talk about the autopen instead. I mean, it's just showing.
So that was a lie.
That he doesn't know where to go on this thing because he's never been in this territory before politically.
Well, the reason this issue is different than the other ones is because first of all, it began with conservatives trying to shine a light on this, implicating the Clintons and other friends of Epstein. The Democrats at that time were downplaying it and denying it. Then it's starting to flip here. And because it's gone on for so long, this is an issue that has been in the public imagination for 10 years. And people who are really paying close attention to this, it's more like 15 or 20 years. So you can't just turn away from it willy-nilly without giving some answers. And so this is why I've said the whole time, I am a plan truster. I don't think Trump is doing anything deceitful or unjust or anything here. You know, I don't think he's implicated in the files, as you point out, Harvey. But I think the government needs to come up with a better answer than, oh yeah, actually there isn't a list, even though we said there was a list, and there is jail cell video, even though previously it was said there was not video, but some of the video's missing, and never mind, move along. That's not going to work. I think the Trump administration is on the right side of this thing. I think they just need to give a more persuasive explanation to people.
On the right side?
Agree, but Michael, you said the government needs to come up with a better explanation. You know who the government is.
It's him.
It's not the Department of Justice.
It's not Pam Bondi.
It's not Pam Bondi. It is President Trump. So you can't say that and then try and then
DOJ. So when the DOJ comes out and says there's no client list, that's not persuasive.
Michael, are we going to say that the DOJ isn't the president in this administration?
He's knocked that wall down.
Is separate from the DOJ.
He's knocked that wall down.
Trump is the singular figure. There's no question about that. But Trump is a better communicator than some of his lieutenants have been during all of this. And so I think, like today, when he comes out and says,
but not doing a good job this time.
That's
but
much
not
more
doing
persuasive.
a good job, Michael, in terms of communicating it. He can't.
They're not.
Pam Bondi isn't saying a thing without Trump knowing it.
And Trump
cannot tell me that.
Trump came out yesterday and said, "Oh, Epstein file, boring."
Man, Trump's out here torching his own crew, calling NTG and Tim Burchett expendable, blaming lunatics and the autopen stamp for the mess instead of that Epstein file. He says no list, then admits a million names, yet still won't drop the receipts. Y'all really think if he had dirt on himself, he just post it and risk jail because he's honest? Nah, bruh. He's covering for someone, and MAGA's left picking up the pieces. He's playing hot potato with credible leaks, screaming Democrat hoax, then begging Congress to back off. Meanwhile, his base is spiraling, trust evaporating faster than true social notifications. Lesson: never let slick deflection replace hard facts. If someone's too busy spinning wheels, they're hiding something. Demand the receipts. Hold them accountable, and don't get gaslit by shiny objects. You think Trump's honestly fighting for justice or just scrambling to keep bigger secrets buried? Drop your thoughts below. I want to know. I'll see you on the next one. Panda out.